Late and hetero questionable. Phoenix Animation. Hey, homies, what's up? Ryan Wynn here with a special chill stream episode of Late Night INKS. We'll get to our fancy show intro in a minute. Just tweeted out that we are live. If you are hanging out and listening, let me know if I'm coming through loud and clear. I always like when I get 3/4 of the way through an episode and I realize that I'm going through the webcam mic and not my fancy 4-year-old blue snowball mic. So I do have a, like I said, chill stream idea for tonight. I found more videos of me inking the Alterna Comics poster, the roll call poster, that red poster with all the characters from a year and a half, 2 years ago. It's now available on the inside of a bunch of Alterna cover comics. Let me see. Oh, not this one. I've got the reprint of Gods and Gears, issue 1. I got a bunch of those. Hundreds of these came in so that they could go out for to our backers with the Hammerella campaign. Plus, I have a bunch of people that have just been waiting to get issue 1. We've been out of issue 1 for like 6 months now. Hey, Rex Doom. My man, Rex Doom. I still need to hit up Rex Doom in the DMs. I'm going to be getting a little piece of art from him. He joined us, or he participated in the Geronimo Draws Draw stream last night, which is Tuesdays at 8 p.m. over on the Geronimo Draws station. And we drew Godzilla versus King Kong. And he did a badass piece that I want to get from him. All right, well, it wouldn't be a Ryan Wynn show without our show intro. I'm going to hit play on that, and we're going to let the crowd come on in, fill the seats, all of that. Everyone's got their tickets. And yeah, it goes a little something like this. Give us any chance, we'll take it. Read us any rules, we'll break it. We're gonna make our dreams come true. Doing it our way. Nothing's gonna hold us back now. Straight ahead and on the track now. All right, everybody rolling in. We got Ty Ranger. We got Brandon from Phoenix Animation of Galden fame. We got my homie Jay Lee, who is a new friend of mine in the channel, but I feel like we go way back. We're kind of the same age. We have a lot of similar interests and read a lot of the same comics in the past and made connections with a lot of the same people 20 years ago. So I have this feeling that Jay Lee is one of those people. We were probably at a lot of the same cons, probably doing all kinds of fun stuff at the same place, different times. Another person like that I'd like to get on the show is Shelby of 94, Shelby Robertson. So he was at Extreme Studios when he was pretty young back in the 90s. And he and I know for a fact we were either in the same room or amongst the same places so many times. He'd be fun to bring on. All right. Hey, we got Michael Bancroft stopping in to say yo, all the way from down under. Rex Doom saying, sup, Ty to everyone. I don't know why he got an everyone accent like that. So for the chill stream tonight, I got a couple of video options. Maybe we'll end up going through all of them. I am scanning them here now. These are leftover videos, like I said at the intro, from when I inked Dean Kotz over him on the Alterna poster. And I don't know why I didn't ever share these. Some of them, there may have been a couple shaky cameras, something like that. I'm not sure what the deal was. But I have a cool XXI one. Let's see. I've got the guy from the warden from the chair. And, excuse me. I don't know, looks like a couple others. So in a couple minutes, we'll go ahead and hit play on one of those. And you know what? No, we'll just go ahead and do it now because we're going to be doing it in the background. Let's see. Let's go for the warden, eh? You guys want to see the warden? Let's watch me ink the warden. I think I use a nib and then a brush. And I believe this is a deleter nib, a manga nib. So let me get that screen all shared for you guys. Thank you all for showing up. I'm going an hour later than usual. I had a horrible headache this afternoon. Let's see. Hopefully I shared the right one. And let's see. Yeah, thank you guys for showing up. And thank you guys for showing up last week. And thank you guys for showing up for all the draw streams we do over on the Geronimo Draw Station. Those have been getting so crazy. We've been getting so many people hanging out in the live streams and participating. It's freaking awesome. All right, let me get we got it all shared. All right, here we go. I'll just hit play. There's no audio for that. We'll just watch my ink. And if you have any inking questions, if you have any Gods and Gears questions, you have alternate questions, any questions at all, feel free to chime in. We are just chilling here. Hey, Nine Realms Comics, what is up? Michael, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Congratulations on everything, man. The Embrace. I'm sorry I didn't get you on a show yet, but I'm thinking about doing just because of you, my man. I'm thinking of doing something on a Friday or Saturday night. Maybe we do like some sort of like comic ship party where it's not a regular comic ship episode, but we go through and we get some of the people that can't come on Mondays, and you know they have different time schedules and stuff. Because I really want to get the Diaz brothers on from Magic Cop, and they cannot do Mondays. They work during the day. They can't do it. So I mean, either going to have them on some sort of late night inks episode here, or we're going to try to figure out. I want to do some kind of party, like not necessarily open mic. I don't know that I can deal with open mic kind of stuff, but maybe just like maybe it'll be like an invite open mic. Like I bring in some people that you know, either their campaigns are wrapping up or going into in demand, or they can't make it during our regular hours, something like that. We'll come up with something. All right, Nine Realms, I am down to hang out on the comic ship. Yeah, we'll get you back on. I think you were one of our, what were you, maybe our fourth guest? Not even sure, for Elysian Fields. But we didn't have John that episode, so we need to get Mr. Hervey on board when you come on next time. Hey, Nefarious, what is up, brother? Good to see you. Colin Swinburne wants an invite. Colin Swinburne just might get one sometime. You never know. You never know. I do have a soft spot for you Aussies, so you know. And we are going to get Michael Bancroft on. I was going to mention that earlier when I saw him, but I didn't want to put him on the spot. But I have a drawing of his character Ella, I believe her name is, from the Lucent. You asked me a month ago, I would have known all about it when I was reading up on it, drawing the character. But I have a fairly cool piece that I've penciled up, and I've been waiting to ink it for a special late night inks episode. I'm not sure if it's too complicated for an ink-along. I try to keep those simple, but in this piece, I have her hair floating up. It almost looks like it's underwater. But you know, you guys have been willing to step up and challenge yourself on those ink-alongs, and they've been fantastic. So I do owe you guys some visuals on that. Like I said, the last few weeks, I didn't know if I was going to be doing episodes, so I'm going to be collecting all of the recent ink-alongs you've done. People are doing catch-ups. I love that when people play catch-up and I get to see like 8 or 10 of the headshots that they've inked all at once. Everybody's different takes. Michael's still around. He says, yes, Ella, that's right. Yeah, we have to do that. Hey, no rush on my part, Michael. You are busy running one of the raddest shows on YouTube. I wish I could make every one of your episodes. I probably see 3 or 4 a week now. And it's one of those things too. That show is so much fun that when it comes up and I see it on the YouTube, I'm scrolling by and I see it and it's live, but I'm out and about or I'm doing something and I can't watch it. It's such a bummer because there's such an energy to catching some of these shows live, especially a show like that with the really, really active, engaged audience that's cracking jokes, ripping on the host, ripping on each other. Just it's like this really fun bar vibe hangout. You couldn't have a better show intro for a show either. So yeah, here I am. He already agreed to come on my show and I'm kissing his butt. What am I doing? We should be talking about how awesome my inks are here. So that's what we're here to do, right? Is watch me ink and talk about how awesome of an inker I am. Yeah, I think so. Rex Doom says, invite me if you ever feel like getting your channel banned. Hey, you know what? If I ever have the bridge to burn, you're going to be the guy to do it. Not that I haven't burned bridges on my own. Let me tell you what. That'd be kind of funny. We should do an episode. I wonder if I could do that, though, because you guys all know my history and who I've worked with, though. So I try not to, name names or tell stories out of school, whatever the sayings may be. But, or kiss and tell? No, wait, that's not it. But yeah, early on, I had a big mouth, and I was not afraid to what I thought was stand up for myself, but was really kind of I'm not afraid to be a whiny bastard. But yeah, I learned at a young age how not to speak disrespectfully of editors and things like that. There were a handful of us. I think I can say like Sean Murphy was one that in the DeviantArt days we used to talk about things, and we both kind of he went through it a couple years after I did, but we went through this phase of just oh man, I don't care what I say or what people think. I'm super rad artist. I'm so good and this and that, and then you say some stupid stuff and it has its effects. But yeah, I'm going to try to figure out a way to teach you guys the lessons of professionalism from my own mistakes. All right, shag and brag. It's okay, I know nothing. Those of you listening, I'm just reading off the awesome chat here. A Rex Doom and Ross Wolf stream will get you out of YouTube. Wait, that scrolled on me. Get you out of YouTube faster than most. Well, surely that will be funny at AF. Yeah. Demands more bragging. Colin Swinburne, you want me to brag? Humble me? I'm a handsome and humble guy. I'm just me. Let's see. Scrolling with my homies here. There's a fine line between squeaky wheel gets the grease and Jesus, chat is scrolling so fast. Squeaky wheel gets the grease and difficult to work with. Yeah, Joe Weems and I got some good tales of us being difficult to work with. But what's funny is most of the difficult to work with that it was standing up for yourself, demanding that the editors or pencilers live up to the promises that they made, asking for contracts, asking for a decent amount of time to do the project and be allowed to have all the pages, things like that. But it was always funny. So you were seen as an inker, you were seen as like a troublemaker if you tried to get the same basic like treatment as a penciler or a writer. So any inker like my age or older, if I say the term just an inker to them, they'll go, oh yes, just an inker, because you were always told you were just an inker. You could be asking for contracts, like I said, any of those things. And that was my standard, especially towards the end when I knew how the business actually was running. So like starting 10 years ago, I started my exit strategy from DC. And because I saw by that point, I knew that Hollywood wasn't gonna help us. Early on, year 2000, 2001 era, Ryan was like, dude, the movies are coming, Hollywood's coming, comics are gonna get so popular again. Marvel is gonna franchise stores. That's what I was thinking they would do, because I thought they would want to maximize profitability across across the board. But really that would have cost so much more in infrastructure and things like that and setup than I knew at the time. But I thought for sure they're going to be setting up and Hollywood's going to like help us raise our page rates and all this stuff that I thought was going to be so rad. Because in my experience of Hollywood and comics had been through Top Cow, and Top Cow had made Wanted. And when Wanted came out, all of us at Top Cow got to go to this premiere Paramount in this private theater. We got invited to these dinners. We all got page rate increases. All sorts of stuff like that. So it was, that's what I thought was going to happen with Marvel. I was like, oh, they're going to have the best page rates in DC, whatever. I was just like, Hollywood's going to be the best thing ever. And in the 10 years following that, they started cutting all sorts of corners. If like Warner Brothers, before they even came in, before Disney got Marvel, they just started, cutting corners everywhere. So long established editors who naturally would have passed on their knowledge to the next generation were shooed out, and then you bring in a bunch of new people, and you get some good people, you get a bunch of bad people. I shouldn't say bad, inexperienced, and you get people that eventually learn, you get people that don't, or they try to bring outside methods in that just don't work in comics, things like that. So around 2010, I started my exit strategy. I don't even know where I'm going with this story now. Why don't we catch up with the chat? My headache better? My headache is a little bit better, Hyper Potato. Thank you very much. Yeah, we have the winds blowing in. If you're from California or the Southwest, you've heard of the Santa Ana winds. And they didn't really hit us today, but it's sort of a pre-thing that comes in, and everything's dried out. Everything, it's just crazy. So it messes with my sinuses, all that stuff. Blah, blah, blah. Whiny me. Eric Halsell says, hey, y'all. Simon7 says, being professional is trouble for all those that aren't. Being professional is a trouble for all those that aren't. Yes, definitely. Sorry, I had to read that twice. Yeah, hashtag just an inker, Michael Bancroft. I'm just an inkalo, and everywhere I go, no one gives me a contract. Colin Swinburne says, sounds like I should buy more Top Cow. You know, I had some pretty good runs there. I get the runs everywhere, but no, I had a couple. My big thing there was the Darkness Volume 3. Phil Hester wrote, Michael Broussard on pencils. We did that for a couple of years. It was only like 12 or 13 issues, but they were really, really intense. Your boy got a Harvey nom for the inks. That's right. And the funny thing about that year is I was up, let me see if I remember this right. I was up for Best Inker on the Darkness. Joe Weems was up for Best Inker on something, and Danny Mickey was up for Best Inker on the Elementals over John Romita. But the funny thing is I had done the assistant work for both Joe and Danny on those projects. I'd done all the backgrounds. So I actually had 3 nominations that year. I didn't win any of them. But that was also, so that ties into when like Hollywood and the outside world started coming into comics and started getting weird. So I think the person that, he may not have won that year, but he was nominated multiple years in a row. It was the artist that does like the stick figure books. I forget what it is. They have them at Target and like Walmart, whatever. It's like the kids' books with the stick figures. And since he inks it and the book was nominated for everything, it was nominated for Best Inker too. I remember thinking like, that's not even fair. But again, here I am whining, huh? Yes, kind of went the other direction, huh? Michael Bancroft says. Yeah, so yeah, as I was saying, they everything started getting cut. So I started my exit strategy, and I thought I was done. I was leaving DC, and I thought I was done with comics. I started working on toy designs. I did a bunch of, I was basically a freelance designer, and companies that design toy boxes. Like I did a bunch of Nerf toy designs and Transformer toy box designs and Legos and things like that. And they essentially like, they send the gig out to like 20 different artists, and everyone draws like the same thing, or a few of you have overlapping things that you're drawing. And then they bring all of that in-house. They show that to the client, and then they have their in-house artists take all of that and mash it together. So it was always kind of funny. Like there was some set of Nerf guns that they made for zombie hunting, and they ended up using like 3 or 4 letters from my design of part of one word and then part of another guy's, and then like just pasting all these things together. So that was kind of fun. And man, those gigs paid so well. I was trying to follow the footsteps of guys like Dan Panosian and Neil Adams and stuff like that. Because, you know, my whole thing when I was young, it was always just like, what did those guys do? What did the big dogs do? The really good guys? And just do whatever they did. Just do whatever it takes to do what they did. And their path was, you know, they did comics, they got big in comics, and then they left to go do advertising, storyboards, things like that. And then they came back to comics rocking and rolling. So that was also sort of my plan. It was like, okay, so Hollywood's kind of messing it up, so I'm going to leave and go do this stuff. And then, you know, I'll come back as like, I'll work in toy design and storyboards, and I'll make a bunch of money doing that, and then I'll be able to hire Dean Kotz, which the goal has always been to work with Dean Kotz, who I'm inking in this here video. He's he's the Gods and Gears artist. He's a very good friend of mine. And that was always the goal. Was once I got to DC, I was like, get them royalties. And then when that wasn't paying off and didn't look like it was going to in the future pay off as well, that's when I was like, all right, so I'll go to Hollywood. I did a really cool project I'll share on here someday with Stephen Katz, who wrote, oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank on the John Malkovich vampire movie. He wrote that, and he and I did a couple pitches, and they were movie trailers done as comic book pages. So it looked like a comic, but if you read it, it almost seemed jumbled. But if you knew it was reading as a movie trailer, it was actually pretty cool. I don't think I can spoil anything, but they were all vampire and Dracula related. It was really cool. And so I had a lot of fun doing that stuff. That was all before Valiant sucked me back in. Yes, sci-fi for me. Hey, good to see you, Jason. You're going to be hearing from me very soon. Very soon. That's all I'm going to say. Exit Strategy, in quotes, is the name of my next band. That is a good band name. How far behind am I? I'm 6 minutes behind on the chat. Let's. I'm going to scroll through. If I missed a question, feel free to ask again. I'm not ignoring you guys. Last time I missed a bunch. Nine Realms says, Ryan worked on The Darkness. That's right, I worked on The Darkness. If you didn't know that, go check out our series. I think it was the best series. I like all the Darkness series, but I think ours was it was the pinnacle. It had the best story meets art, and the longest storyline, stuff like that. I do have a story from my Top Cow days of a lesson learned. I was on a local, what do you call it, public access channel. A couple guys, one guy that owns Jeffrey's Comics and another guy that owns the Comic Bug, they had a public access show they did where they dressed as superheroes and talked about comics and nerd stuff. And I went on there with the creator of The Darkness, writer David Wohl. Now, I came from like shop life. Like I worked in shops with dudes, and we were rude and crude 24 hours a day. You were mean to each other on purpose, but it was all like, that's just how it was, but nothing was personal. You had fun being mean to each other. You poked fun at each other. It was just how it was. And you would always say things in a sarcastic way. Everything was just like that. And you can remember, I was young and dumb, in my early 20s. So he agrees to be on the show. And I said something. They asked about if I had been a fan of The Darkness. And I made some joke about, like, it wasn't even a joke. It was just dumb. It was me just being stupid and young. I was like, yeah, it was okay. Like those early issues are okay. They kind of read as like jokey and hokey, and it took them a while to figure it out, but we got it now. Like I was trying to like jokingly talk trash on the old one, but boy, was it a misfire. And then I looked up and he had left the like backstage side area and like gone out, and someone was just shaking their head, and I was like, oh, that didn't go over well. And so that was one of those times like you went home and you're like, okay, so I gotta really think about when I make certain jokes and who I make them around. But still to this day, I end up putting my shoe in my foot in my mouth all the time. No. Oh, Nine Realms. Why hasn't Ryan drawn the Embrace yet? Only because of time. And every time I see that character come up, it is just screaming for me to draw them. I have an idea too. And that's the other thing too. That character, it needs more than just a headshot because of the costume design. So with all the hands reaching and stuff, so I couldn't just do some characters. I could just do a headshot of that character and that'll work. But I think your character, it needs a little more. So I've just been so busy. Once I'm done with Hammerella, though, I'm going to be drawing all kinds of stuff for everybody. And I'm also going to be taking on sculpting commissions when I'm done with Hammerella. So if you guys are looking for like busts of your characters or things like that, Spencer Desmond and I are going to be doing all kinds of cool stuff like that. All right, looks like that video is done. Let's see. I've got an XII one I can throw up. Let's do that. Let's see. Yeah, there's a new XII series out, the 12. Everyone, we just call it XII so that you don't get mixed up. But that's what it is. Let's see. I think this is the right one. No, this is not the right one. Stop that. Okay, it is. All right, everybody, remember this number for me. It is 57 because none of the videos are labeled. So I gotta find it like that. Yeah, thanks. We got 20 people hanging out. I'm gonna hang out for like another half hour. Keep the questions coming. I'm gonna catch up on that in just a second. 57. There we go. And looks like this is a 16-minute video. So there we go. You know what? I can go full screen on that bad boy. So it's bigger. There we go. That's much better. I should have done that on the other one. Still learning though. Mandible Smasher asks, did you watch the Image documentary on YouTube? Thoughts? Is there a newer one? I feel like there was one last year, and there might be a newer one in the last few months. If not, I did see that. I watched it while I was working. I remember it being pretty accurate. I was a little bummed that they didn't explore some of the periphery creators. Like there was mention of Danny Mickey, but it would have been cool. I'd like to see sort of like an expanded take on what was going on with that. Hey, Pedrino showed up a few minutes ago. I'm way behind. Okay, I'm jumping way ahead to catch up to the chat. If I missed your question, ask again. I'm so sorry, but I want to catch up on you guys and not miss stuff like I did last time. Ty Ranger says, Ryan, doing all these collaborations and never hits me up. Looks like I got a new hashtag life goal. Yeah, we have collaborated. Yeah, we did Ty Ranger and I did he penciled and I did a painting over a Hammerella Gods and Gears fan art piece, which I don't have on this computer, but next time we do like a hangout or something, and I pulled up all the ink-alongs, I'm going to pull up all the Hammerella fan art too. I need to collect all that and share that. So that's why there's so many people here. Everyone was the sexy chat had nowhere to go after a Bancroft stream. I still don't know why I have trouble saying that. Bancroft stream. Just don't say it 3 times backwards, otherwise he shows up in your bathroom. And Nine Realms says, I got to hit him up with those sculpting rates. Yeah, I'm going to be offering, it's going to be good rates to begin with. It is going to be quality work just because I'm new to digitally sculpting. I've been sculpting for years. I've been working on custom figures. The recent transition to digital just blew my mind that they're able to process all of that for the little amount of space it does on my iPad. And that's what I needed to do to be able to do it. I needed it on my iPad, but I still need to get a bigger iPad. I've only got this 9.5 incher. I still need to get something bigger to draw on. But once I transitioned over to digital sculpting, I realized how much quicker I'm going to be able to create the figures and basically put in way less time and up the amount of product I can make. So this summer is going to be really fun. I've already got the Hammerella one almost done. I have 2 Gods and Gears figures. I have 4 prototypes done, and I have 2 that are almost done, and those are all physical. Those would, but I'm thinking of actually transferring those, even like just mimicking them in digital and then just printing them up in the proper printer. And Pedro Ang says, hey, Ryan, whenever you need retopology for your sculpts, hit me up. I'm just starting to learn about that stuff. Pedro, you and I are going to be kind of doing some private hangouts soon, I think, some studio hangouts, and be discussing things. Everyone, yeah, Pedro's awesome. If you're not friends with Pedro, get to know him. He did, let's see, you know what? Hey, let's take a break from this, or you know what? I think it'll play right over it. I want to play, where is it? Pedro's Hammerella animation that he did for us. There's a little bit at the end that's by me, but the Hammerella animation where she jumps and swings, this is all my man Pedro. Yeah, there we go. Pedro is amazing. I'm going to be hitting him up too. I have a Gods and Gears animation short I'd like to do where we take the 0-issue story that was it came out on a Wednesday 8 and sort of do an anime style short movie of that story. And by anime style, I mean we can do it where if we animate the way they do, where it's like on the 2s and 3s, you hold some frames, some shots, like if you've seen Attack on Titan, it almost looks like they've taken a page from the comic and 2 layer elements are either moving closer together or further apart with, like shaky action lines. And they're cheats, but if you stylize the cheats right, it can be entertaining and a proper way to move the story forward. And watching Attack on Titan really opened my eyes up to a lot of the ways we could do that. And then I dove back into rewatching old anime and old Dragon Ball Z and things like that, and seeing like what timing they're doing on the frames and things like that. So that'll probably be a 2022 project with a 2020. I don't even know what the year 2020. It'll probably be in a year or so. Yeah, Jay Lee says that was a sweet. That was sweet. Reminded him of the old Herculoids opening. Yeah, Pedro's got all the same influences, inspirations as we do. He's an old dude just like us, and he has a book called Tropical Magics that he's working on, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Mechs, madness, tropics, all that stuff. And Pedro adds, if it advances the storytelling, shortcuts are good. Yeah, I agree. And I a lot of those, I don't know, quote unquote shortcuts are actually, they're techniques I'm really looking forward to playing with. I have certain scenes are already in mind for that. And I'm also going to take up John Celestri, world famous animator John Celestri, who we had on the ship a couple weeks ago. I'm going to hit him up to sort of help me oversee the animation directing. And we're going to have him on an episode with Pedro soon, too. Both of them have agreed to come on, and we're going to discuss animation. Might get Brandon on here, too, from Phoenix Animation, because I think it would be fun to have Celestri kind of take us through the A, B's, and C's of 2D animation. And maybe he can be explaining things, and I can be doing it digitally in Procreate, because it's got a great 2D animation program that you can. It's very easy to manage. Animation can be very intimidating, just like inking, stuff like that. So I'm here to help demystify things. That doesn't mean that you just watch an episode and things are going to be easy all of a sudden, but just like with inking, I want to try to like ease people into animation so that you kind of you don't get too far ahead of yourself, you don't get overwhelmed with the knowledge, and you can just it's super fun. It's an amazing thing to do. Just like inking, even if you're not trying to do it for a living, it's fun to have these crafts, these artistic goals, and things that on the side, Let's see what our friends here are saying. Nine Realms says Western comics needs to be paying attention to the manga market. Yeah, but it's that ship has sailed. When they pulled comics from the public, that's where, obviously manga is still booming in America for other reasons too, with show tie-ins that you could go to the bookstore and there's the book that looks like the characters that are in the show or the movie you're watching, almost even the same style, because a lot of times the animation style, they try to mimic the book, so it's just perfect in that sense. But then when you go to other countries, like you go to Japan, they still have their grocery stores, their convenience stores, everything like that still has all these manga and magazine, and the kids on their way to school, like every morning when I went to get a cup of coffee, every morning there's kids, they're all reading on their way to school, reading the manga, and on the way back they're stopping and reading and buying and this or that. And we lost a whole generation of that. Those kids' older brothers were doing that, their older brothers were doing that, their older sisters, brothers, they were doing that. We had a generation that grew up that just wasn't around. Like my brother, he only knew comics because of me. He knew X-Men because of the cartoons, and we could share stories like that. Like he knew all about the Phoenix story from the show, and I knew about it from comics. Pedro says CG animated shorts is his goal. Yeah, that's one of the things I want to do with toy design too, is for indie people, is to be able to help them, make a single figure of your character. Like I said, I'm going to start off with busts and, just make it affordable for people, not rip myself off, but make it extremely affordable for people, because man, it's so easy to do these days. And we don't need manufacturing plants in China. We don't need giant corporations selling. I mean, we don't need any of that crap. Let's see. Sci-Fi for me says, I have a friend teaching psych at University of San Diego. She calls them iGen. I have an uncle that teaches there, but they probably do not know each other. Colin says, Ryan, if you want to see some wild animation cheats, look at Berserk, 1997 anime. Yes. And if I remember right, they're all really good cheats. Same with Ninja Scroll. Ninja Scroll, when I watched that back in the day when I was a kid and we got like the bootleg VHS and the blood sprayed and things were falling and guts and everything, that it was so intense to me. And then it was like a couple of years ago, I went and rewatched it, and it's still really cool and amazing. But now that I know how to animate and I know how to do these things, I was like, oh, all they did was this, or this. And it does so much. You layer the animation right. It's all about your timing and your editing too. Like Ninja Scroll is all about editing. Same with Akira. Akira is all about editing. Make sure I don't miss anything. Nine Realms is anime is brilliant. I almost read it as Nine Realms says Nine Realms is brilliant. Just bragging about oneself. But no, it says anime is brilliant. Yes. I study anime on YouTube because you can hit the arrows on the keyboard and go frame by frame. So you can pull up your favorite animes and you can see where they animate on the 1s, the 2s, the 3s, things like that. I did a Spider-Man animation on my channel where Spider-Man swings out from an alley, changes direction, comes towards the camera, and then 2 orange like missiles, obviously like from one of the goblins or something, come by and explode. And in order, I wanted to do, I wanted to practice explosions. So I just use that as basically class. Like I teach myself the way I would teach a student something. And so I just went frame by frame on the Akira animation of their explosion. And I saw like how much they would expand on a 1, and then maybe let the clouds, like on the 2s, which that means how long you hold a frame. Those of you that don't know. And, when they would cut and expand, and how the insides of each exploding section kind of expand. And, yeah, highly recommend. Do that on YouTube. Even if you just if you're just curious how animation works, go through, you pause it, and the arrows on your keyboard, you just hit right or left, and it goes frame by frame. And it does that with movies too. And I believe you can set the frame rate that it's playing at. I'm not sure. I haven't done it in a few months, but. All right, we got hey SDA, what is up? Someday I'm gonna learn what SDA stands for. And Page Rang says by CG he means comics and not computer generated. I think I knew that, but that's pretty funny. I didn't even think about that. It used to be CGI. Jay Lee says, Ryan, you're right. When I was a kid, I got my comics from a grocery store and saw the kids in Japan go get candy and manga was everywhere. Yeah, Jay Lee has spent plenty of time in Japan too, and has great stories. But yeah, they never lost it there, Nine Realms says they were still on the rack when I was a kid till I was in middle school. 7-Eleven was the last holdout I could think of. Yeah. In California, that's what it was too. I mean, I was already shopping at a shop. I worked at a shop. My first job was at a comic shop when I was 12, and I worked there till I was 16, and I quit to play basketball. And yeah, so by that point, I was, early 90s. I was doing almost all my shopping at the shop. And sometimes I would check out comics at 7-Eleven, grabbing Slurpees and stuff, but. Ah, San Diego State University. I'm sorry, that is not where my uncle teaches. State University? Gah, get out of here. I'm just kidding. Pedro says, want to see some wild animation? Check out Teko Kinkreet. Weird character design, but full unabashed animation. I'm going to check that out. I do not know that. And, I haven't seen the other ones, but Nine Realms says Berserk 1997 is the only anime adaptation of Berserk worth watching. Yeah, I haven't seen the other ones, but that's good to know. Ty Ranger says, y'all are weebs. That's the right word, right? I'm so far removed from anime, I don't even know what simple slang is. Hey, that's all right, Ty. You're still cool in our book. Although I do think there's certain ones you would like. I think you personally, knowing you, I think you would really like Full Metal Alchemist, and you can go with the original Full Metal Alchemist, or you can go with Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. They both follow the manga pretty much to the T up to a certain point, and the original Full Metal anime goes in its own direction because it was out at the same time as the book, and then Brotherhood follows the anime pretty much, or follows the manga. I think I prefer the first one, not out of any elite reason. I like that it's different. I like the direction it takes, and there's certain things they did in the animation that I think they were working harder to achieve. Therefore, I think it has a better effect. But I think you would like that. SDA brings up one of my favorites, Fulukili, FLCL. That was a big inspiration on my book Death Betty, which is only available digitally on Comixology, or the 0 issue is available on the Hammerella campaign. It's a rare collector's item, so it's $40 a pop. It has the first introduction and preview of what would be Gods and Gears. It has the opening pages of Gods and Gears in the back of Death Betty, and it was back when the story was called Driver and Shotgun. It was kind of before we'd expanded the story. Oh, looks like our video has stopped. Let's see. I've got another one here I'll share while we're hanging out for a little longer. But yeah, Fulikili is wild and out there. It's almost like abstract in animation, and I don't mean that like the anime gets abstract. It kind of does in certain parts. It gets trippy, but it's kind of a fly by the seat of your pants story, and it's all emotionally based. So the emotions of the characters charge the story and move it forward. So it doesn't follow direct like narrative paths. And it's awesome. Music, skating, scooters. I think it's one of my favorite animation pieces of all time. That's what I think. All right, let's do this one. All right, so all of you, make sure you are subscribed. We are almost to 1,000 subscribers, and this is the same one we just played. This is the same one we just played. Let's see. I am so excited to get to 1,000. We're going to do all kinds of cool stuff. We're going to have memberships. We're going to be doing all kinds of fun stuff. So we're at like 930 something now. Okay, let's see what this one is. All right, it's the Exilium one. There we go. We'll go full screen. And it's working. All right. So yeah, I recommend Fulikuli, Full Metal Alchemist. What do you guys think of Full Metal? Let's see. Catching up. I'm going to scroll down a little. Jay Lee says he got spoiled in the army at the PX. We had a guy who asked what books we wanted, and those books were the only ones he would order, and the books would arrive every Friday. Yeah, that's the commissary at the El Toro Marine Base here in Southern California. The base was full of dudes that had, started their families and lived in Japan and then moved here, and it was the same thing. It was like, what do you guys want? So the store was chock full of Japanese food and manga, comics, all that stuff. So it was really cool to be able to do that. We just go there, buy happy snacks and manga, and it was the 80s in Southern California. Ty Ranger says, I was exposed to anime in the worst way. Full on Japanese. Japanese. Wow. full-on Japanese with no subtitles, and it was one of the crazier ones, so I couldn't follow it all, so everyone made fun of me. Oh, that's too bad. I'm sorry about that. Hey, TJ Good Thunder, what's up, brother? He says, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. That's his favorite one. Yeah, I still think I like the original one better. Nine Realms says Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is a perfect gateway anime. Yeah, I think so. It's not an out there anime. It doesn't deal with a lot of like weird creatures other than like monsters and things like that. But it's not like you're dealing with like anthropomorphic people or the animal headed people, which sometimes throws off a lot of normies from wanting to watch something. Ty Ranger says Full Metal is one of the only ones I've seen. Watched both, so you're spot on. Hey, right on. See, you didn't even think of it as anime because it crosses so many boundaries. Let's see. Simon7 says near Shinjuku there was a homeless guy who sold the tossed shonen manga phone books that he got from the trash to gaijin tourists like me. Oh, he would take the very cool. Ah, that's good. Shinjuku. I've been to Shinjuku. I stayed there. It's a cool part of town. It's kind of like, I don't know, there's a cool classic train station there, and then I don't know, it's a cool little area. Ty Ranger says watch Heroic Legends of Arslan, done by the same lady as Full Metal. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm forgetting her name right now. But I have I read a bootleg version of. She had a book before that, before Full Metal, something dog, that was like impossible to get. And I had a friend, it was a Xeroxed bootleg that I was able to read parts of it. Not even read because it wasn't translated. It was just Xeroxes of whatever. Hey, Ying Yan Zhao, another honorable guest in the crowd and very knowledgeable. It says the original Fulikuli was a real work of art. I didn't know if there was more. If there was more, I'm willing to check it out, but it's one of those things that almost should, just leave it alone. And Nine Realms says, I can't subscribe more than once. How many away are you? I think we're like 60 some away. So it'll happen in the next few weeks. We'll do some kind of cool celebration too. Colin says he was lucky to get his hands on that Death Betty issue. Yeah, there were only so many made. I'm eventually going to collect them and print them up. I was going to do single issues, but I think I might just do a collection of these. I'm going to talk to the writer, my friend Adam, and have him kind of do like a once-over on all those issues that are out, the first 3 issues. And then the 4th issue is drawn, colored, everything. It just needs to be lettered. And I don't know if I'm going to do a campaign for that or not, because I think the next campaign should be for a collection of Gods and Gears, which is done. But I'm not even thinking of that till I get Hammerella out. And that's taking longer than planned already by weeks only. But still, I don't want to... I can't even put my mind to that until this is done. So, and we got people asking questions to each other. Ty Ranger asked, Nine Realms, is there an English dub? That's my other problem, learning disability, so I can't read fast enough for subtitles. That can be tricky sometimes. So it's cool. I know some people are like, don't watch the dubs, but I have to watch a lot of dubs because I watch stuff while I work. So I have to watch the Titans dub or Attack on Titan dub because I watch it while I work. Where Full Metal, I've watched the subtitle version, and I do appreciate that. But I originally watched it with the American translation, so those voices sound like the characters to me. Like Vic sounds like that character to me, and whoever played the other brother, I can't think of Alphonse and Edward. Jay Lee says an anime that you need to check out, and you can also watch it on YouTube, is Modazushi. It's an amazing anime. Cool. I'm going to check that out too. Thank you. I just recently watched Redline. It was probably like 6 months ago now, but I'd been waiting to watch that, and I finally sat down and just gave it my full attention, my full focus, and that was fantastic. They were doing so many things that we're doing in Gods and Gears too, but they're doing it this insane, intense level. I guess I shouldn't call it Gods and Gears 2. Gods and Gears issues 5 through 8. The Heart of Racing. I'm so close to getting the script over to Dean. He's chomping at the bit. We've got designs ready. We had the plot all worked out, and there was just something about the bad guys that wasn't clicking for me. And then like 2 weeks ago, it all fell into place. So yeah, we're going to have the boys on this different world, racing competitions, ancient racing cults, like all sorts of fun stuff, brand new characters that are they're gonna impress you. We got some funny characters, but it's gonna be the same vibe as the first Gods and Gears series. We're gonna have a small story inside something big and cosmic going on, but it's gonna be full of heart and it's gonna be totally 100% character driven. We're gonna watch Eli fall in love with racing, and Jimmy is gonna fall in love with a girl for the first time. So, oh boy. Hey, the Christian Nomad was able to make it. Glad to catch a stream again. What's being inked? Hey, buddy, welcome. This is me inking the pencils of Dean Kotz, and this is for the Alterna poster. Let me see if I can share that really quick. Stop that for a second. Let's see. Here we go. So there is the poster that we are inking, and this was done in, I think it was 2018 we did this. So these are all characters that were part of the Alterna team at the time. Obviously, there's people that have left and series that have ended and things like that. So the poster is out of print. So if you get this poster in your Alterna order, that's it. There's not going to be any more once Peter's out. But he is also putting them as an inside cover poster. So if you buy extra issues, you can pop the staples out and have that as a poster. But yeah, Dean penciled that up. I inked and colored it, and it was, I don't know, it was one of those things. It was just such an honor to be able to do this for Peter. And yes, there is a Timey Tim. For anyone that can't tell, Timey is up on Psycho KO's shoulder. So there. All right, we're just gonna go for a couple. Gosh, there's 21 of you watching though. Why would I bail on 21 of you watching? Let's get this video back up and playing. And we'll jump to where we were. Full screen it. All right, back to the chit chat. All right, Nine Realm says Brotherhood is way better, Ryan, especially since the movie Light of Shambhala closes out the OG and is set in Nazi Germany and turns Maj Hughes into a Nazi. Yeah, you're probably right that it's bad. I think it's just one of those things that it's something about like the time I watched the original. There's probably one of those things that it sticks with me. But I think you're right in that the overall of it is that it's all encompassing, and you no, I'm not going to say you're right yet, but you might be. Arnie Gordon showing up. Hey Ryan, hey everyone, what is up? Good to see you, buddy. I don't think I've seen you in at least a few weeks. Paige Rang says, in Latin America, anime came in because of laziness of the TV stations. They didn't want to produce, so they bought anime directly from Japan and did poor translation. Hey, but you still got to watch it, so that's cool. That could be kind of fun. I speak enough, or I understand more Spanish than I speak these days, but that would be kind of fun to watch anime translated into Spanish. Huh. I bet there's plenty of that on YouTube. I'm going to look that up. And TJ Good Thunder bringing up his favorite. I know that. He says, you can do superheroes in an anime style now, even with My Hero Academia, which I know you are a huge fan of that. I have yet to get into that. What's on the table now? I got through the Vinland Saga, the first book. I've got Ping Pong set up, but a bunch of people are telling me it's not as good as some people were saying. I just recently read something that was one of the best manga I'd ever read. Oh yeah. Oh, what's his name? Okay, I'm not gonna trick. I can't think of his name right now. I'm so embarrassed I can't think of his name right now. But anyways, I'll let that come to me. Let's check out comments. Let's see. SDA is going to be back. Pedro Ang reminding people, hit that like button. Yang Yan Zhao says 2 seasons came out about a year ago. Let me see. Wait, what are you mentioning? Let me scroll and see if I can find that. I don't see what you meant. Oh, wait. Maybe that's it. Oh, the original. We were talking Fooly Cooley. Okay. I will check those out. That's right, Rex Doom. Full gods, full gear. Yeah, it's going to be... I can't wait to do this next series. It's going to be so rad, and especially now that we know we're ongoing. So we're going at least 25 or 30 issues. So I already have book 2 of the Hammerella story planned out, and those are going to become the Gods and Gears annuals. And then those storylines in the annual, they're going to build up and slowly work their way into combining with the storyline from Gods and Gears. So that at the end, we can have everyone meet and have a giant party. Colin Swinburne says, Gods and Gears, Heart of Racing sounds like a prog rock album. That would probably work as some of the music for it too. Although I'm writing it to the Institute 91 synthwave music, but I think we get some prog rock in there too. And Razmaz calling us Gods and Gearers. Pedro Ang saying more godly, more geary. Let's see. Scrolling. Razmaz says he'd like to see Gods and Gears get a lot more godsy and a few less gears. Well, it's going to remain the same, because apparently, in the first series, there wasn't enough gears for people, which I thought was funny because people were like, some people, they were like, hey, I thought it was going to be more about racing. Then it wasn't, and I didn't like that. And they didn't stick with it. And then there were people that were like, I thought it was going to be more about racing. It wasn't. I was kind of mad, but then I liked where it went. And then I realized you brought the race cars back to it. Sorry, I hit the mic. So it is still about racing, but it's kind of a twist on it. But that was something I was like, you know what, we need to have more racing. And it's tricky though. It's tricky to write a story around racing because with Gods and Gears, it's always character driven, like I said. But you want it to be super fun. You want it to have races, but is it about the races? Like look at Speed Racer, look at things like that. This is something I think would be fun to expand on another stream, maybe with like Joe Catapano or something from Star Circuit, where we're writing about racing and the racing life and these racers and stuff like that. But it's you have to have it character driven. It can't just be stats and graphs and like this person beat this person and stuff like that. So to have racing be as involved in the story, but still have it be a story I liked and wanted to tell, it was more challenging than I thought, but much more rewarding as well. All right, I see Eliza Bar showing up. You know what? You have somebody should be hitting you up in a day or so. I'm going to check the tracking. But there's something in the mail to a friend of yours that they should be getting any day now. Eliza Bar is very nice and says the world needs more Cade in it. You should redraw every character in this to be Cade. I just read the first issue of Can't Kill Cade, and I don't want to say I liked it because I'm friends with the writer and artist, but it was a lot of fun. And that was drawn a couple years ago, so I can't wait to see what they do with issue 2 because Kevin already kicked butt a couple years ago on art, and I can't wait. He's so much better now. I can't wait to see how much more intense it is. And Nick Welch's colors look fantastic. I had read the original Ashcan a couple years ago. Spencer had sent it my way, and it was cool, but there was something extra special about reading it on newsprint with that Alterna logo. Colin Swinburne asks, question, if those giant killer mechs from Hammerella got made into a 12-inch figure, what would you want its action figure to be? Well, I do have those. I have one, it's half designed. Because the plan is basically to design all these things and then print up or manufacture and sell colored, painted, like limited edition ones. But then I also want to make things available to you guys because so many people have their own 3D printers. I already have a few people doing test runs on their own printers just to see like how does the Hammerella bust, that we designed, which is just a rough right now. It's not anything final. How does that look? How easy was it for you to print up and things like that? So if I can get, the designs where you can just have your 5 points of articulation snapped together, you print it up yourself, figures, I think that would be fun because then we can make those really affordable to people. And you could paint it yourself, print it up in any color, print them up clear, translucent figures, anything like that. So we're figuring it out. So yeah, I hadn't thought of how big to make that yet, because I was even thinking of making a play set of the head of a giant Mecha Kira. The Mecha Kira are what our mechs are called. 2 words, MEKA-KIRA, and it's basically killer robot with a little bit of Romanji inspiration from Japan. 7 says, but we got a lot more anime than the US in the 70s and 80s. Yeah, you did. We were way late on that. They were having trouble trying to figure out because everything had to be part of some marketing plan and this or that. Jay Lee says, throwing you a classic to check out. It's a 1979 animated movie, Flash Gordon, and it's on YouTube, but done by Filmation Animation, so you have to see it. It's amazing. I have seen that. That is something. Actually, you know what? I've only watched it in parts. I've never actually sat and watched the whole thing. So if it's on YouTube, I definitely want to see that. Nine Realms says Vinland Saga is incredible. Yeah, I bought it for my brother as a present. I had a friend that recommended it to me to give him as a gift, and when he was done with it, he gave it right back to me. It was like, you got to read this. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. Satoshi Kon. That is who I was so embarrassed that I could not remember his name. Satoshi Kon, I just read his unfinished manga that I also can't remember the name of, but it was one of the best comic book manga experiences I've ever had. And it even dealt with tropes that I thought were tired and played out about a creator falling into their work, sort of a thing, which everyone's played with that. And I was like, no, that's what it is. It is. It's amazing. So I'm curious what you guys think of that. You know, if I'm an idiot for that, or if you guys like that. Liza Bar asks, best manga, Akira, Ghost in the Shell. Both really good, and I like them both for different reasons. I don't like playing best of, but if I had to choose, I think I'm gonna choose Akira as my favorite. It lacks certain endowments that Ghost in the Shell has, but I think it makes up for it in other places. Christian Nomad says, my first anime was on Sci-Fi Channel in like 96, and it was some crazy psycho anime where they were ripping off the heads of cats and slicing random people in half in dystopian Tokyo. Freaked me out. Let us know in the chat if anyone knows what that is. I want to say it sounds familiar, but you guys would know better than I. Oh, Nine Realms probably already gone. He's got an early morning. If you're still here and you're hanging out, goodbye, buddy. I will talk to you soon in the DMs and stuff. And see, I'm so far behind on the chat. You guys are so awesome, though. You're so chatty tonight. Jay Lee says to Christian Nomad that was most likely Demon City Shinjuku. Simonin says to Pedro, we got most of the Osamu Tezuka animes. The God of Manga. That was nowhere to be seen in the US. No, it was not. And a whole lot more like Candy or like Speed Racer. But F1, of course, my favorite. Triton? It's Triton? Triton, what is that? Triton? Triton? Ty Ranger says, Gods and Gears, the Ricky Bobby Nights. That reminds me of, did you guys see or like, we won't talk about spoilers or anything, but did you guys see or like Godzilla vs. King Kong? I say that reminds the Ricky Bobby because I've been calling the girl in it Milton Robert Brown, Millie Bobby Brown. She's all grown up now, so she's Milton Robert Brown. It was very fun. I thought it was very fun to watch. Not a spoiler. Fun to watch, just like the other ones. Loved all the monster parts. The rest could go. Could care less about the rest. But absolutely loved all the monster parts, and looking forward to watching those parts again. And Jay Lee says, or Christian Nomad says to Jay Lee that it may have been that, but he was thrown off. Let's see, he was thrown off anime for a while until Akira came around. Yeah, I could see that. If something you watch something, even if you just read a disturbing comic book, if that was your first comic, or a disturbing movie, you might be turned off the medium. So that's fair. Yeah, not something is shipped. Something has shipped, Eliza Bar. It is gone. I'm not on the computer that I can pull up any info on that, but yeah, it should actually be there like tomorrow, I think. Pedro throwing out names: Giant Robo, Manzinger Z, great. Manzine Kaiser, Arvegas, I gotta say these names right. Super Magnetron, El Gladiator, El Galactico. It was one after the other. It's funny because so many of these names, it may be something that you've read a billion times and never said it out loud. You're like, huh? All right, I am jumping. I'm scrolling here. If I miss a question, feel free to ask again. Mechakira as 12 inches looks massive compared to the standard 5 and whatever inches. Yeah, because if I had I'd like to do all the figures at 3 3/4. But if people are printing them up, they can print them up at whatever size they want. So you could, if I have Mechakira parts available, you could print it up at any size, really. Eliza Barr quoting me. I can't remember the name of this, but it was the best manga. Yes. Come on, one of you guys has to know it. The Satoshi Kon manga that he didn't finish. Robot Carnival? No. If you ever want to read a manga that's completely different from all its other media, look up some of the brutal pics from the Pokemon Adventure manga. Really? Huh. Be curious about that. And Simon says, if you want lizards, you should check Gone, a tiny Trex that terrorizes all... A tiny T-Rex. Trex? Oh my gosh, a tiny T-Rex that terrorizes all the other animals. It's hilarious and has great art. That's another thing I love about manga. They, like comics in the... Up until the 80s, they're not afraid to play. And they're not afraid to play on a big scale, you know? They're not afraid to let a big-time creator do something wacky and weird and put it out, you know, a massive print run, things like that. Cool. Let's see. Cool World talk. Eliza Barr says Cool World might be my favorite take on an animator falling into his own work, but it was objectively not a great film. Yeah, I loved it, and also just I didn't really care about it. And Swinburne disagrees though. He thinks it was a great film. You know, maybe Down Under it plays differently. Eric Housel says, Eric Housel, take 2, says, my intro to anime was Star Blazers, Speed Racer, and Battle of the Planets. Yeah, Battle of the Planets was big to me as a kid. Gotcha Man, all that stuff. Any form that those figures came in, because we used to go to the Queen Mary. The boat was docked here in Southern California, and they had a restaurant on board. My family would go there twice a year or so for big family celebrations. And they had a place there, a gift shop there that sold certain manga and Japanese toys. And man, when I saw the first Gotcha Man Battle of the Planets, any form I could get those characters, I didn't even care about the story. I love their designs so much. I still to this day think they're some of the most powerful designs. And we didn't so much rip off their designs as draw inspiration from them and Silverhawks for our characters in Hammerella. Links in the description, still in demand. For our characters called Blue Astra, and Blue Astra is sort of like a stunt team, naval. They're a naval stunt and flight squad, like the Blue Angels here on Earth. But these are cosmic people and cosmic soldiers, and they're sort of like the A-Team as well. They are accused of a crime they didn't commit. They're put into exile, and they leave that part of the galaxy and go off to just be entertainers and hired smugglers, and that's where they come into our story in Hammerella. And speaking of Hammerella, we broke 15,000 this last couple days. I can't thank you guys enough. Every time we get a one person, I think we get 5 people, word of mouth, something like that. But we got a big bump this week, literally hundreds of dollars, handful of backers, and we took it up to 15,420. And all of my friends were screenshotting that and sending me that there was a 420 in the numbers. Thank you, everybody. Hilarious. Rex Doom says there's a lot less human scenes in GVK though. Yeah, there are. I'm such a eye roller about that stuff. It's so funny. My wife was in the same room playing video games. She didn't care about the movie, but she was in the same room playing video games, and I was watching by myself. And when I watch by myself, I talk to the screen. I rip on the actors. I get, just like you're roasting it with your friends. And at the end, she was like, did you like that movie? And I was like, oh, yeah, I can't wait to watch it again. She's like, because you kept yelling about anytime there were people on the screen. I was like, yeah, it's the price I pay It's how it is. But yeah, I felt like the director kind of knew. He was like, I have to have these in here. Everybody wants these in here. All the higher ups, we got to have this storyline in here, and these kids and this YouTuber and stuff. But it was like minimal, and it was like kind of just shoved in between. So like I would I just put my head down and just keep flatting pages. I was flatting. I barely got anything done though. Jay Lee says, yeah, I saw it last night. It's a good movie. Good to see Godzilla and King Kong. Classic Toho script with high special effects. Yeah, and we drew them last night on Geronimo Draws, and I actually took the old 68 poster of Godzilla versus King Kong, and I did a Shin King Kong versus Shin Godzilla, because Shin Godzilla is still my favorite Godzilla. Once I saw Shin Godzilla, that immediately became my favorite Godzilla movie of all time. And to me is going to be very hard to top. Even though I really do like our giant American Godzilla that we've got in these movies. SDA announcing what he likes: Astro Boy, Gigantor, Manzinger Z, Transor Z, Robotech, Macross, Voltron, Go Lion. Pedro Ang says Captain Harlock. The thing is, it was a time slot for anime from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. You got 4 shows from Monday to Friday. Damn. And yeah, Captain Harlock. That's another extension of the Gatchaman world, right? Isn't that what there was a movie recently? I think I remember watching parts of it on the YouTube. Rex Doom says, I forgot about the Kaiju Marathon on TCM tonight. I don't have regular TV. I don't know if they have an app. I would like to check that out. And I imagine he probably bailed. I think I'm going to have to wrap it up. I only got a couple more minutes, but I wanted to make sure I got through all this. I'm having a lot of fun hanging out with you guys. It's nice. Like I've said before on these chill streams, it's nice to just chill. Like a lot of times I'm on stream, I'm inking, I'm drawing. The Geronimo Draws stream it's not intense, but you get your focus is purely just on this drawing and stuff. So it's nice to just sort of just sit and hang out and chit chat with you guys. I will fill you in. Let me adjust my chair real quick. I will fill you in on what we're going to be doing next week. Here, let's catch up on the comments, and then I'll fill you guys in. Lizbar says we should start a drama stream and argue about Cool World, Colin. We'll get so many views. Go for it. I can see it started here. The giant Cool World feud started on my channel. Rex Doom says, Son of Kong now. Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla and Rodan left, so not all hope is lost. Now, I think we got a couple fun movies lined up. And I kind of would like to see, I really liked the first Pacific Rim. Kind of same thing. A lot of the human elements, they're kind of stale to me. They didn't play that great, but I loved the movie. And the second one, whatever. I want to see more like the first one, so I'm kind of hoping the success of this will bring out a couple like more either kaiju or some kind of mech movies that are cool. Christian Nomad says, I really enjoyed in the late 90s when Warrior Nun Ariella was doing that manga-ish style. I enjoy when manga and American comics borrow from each other. Yeah, I do too. I like that. Hey, Inkfinity coming up. We are going to be having Inkfinity on the comic ship on Monday the 5th. That's Alejandro of Columns of Creation. We're going to have it's going to be a really fun episode. We've got, it's the same format, but we're still playing with it, and we're kind of figuring out how to do our segments and things like that. So the show's kind of still in flux, but we've got some new ideas we're going to try out on Alex. Replicant. Hey, welcome, Replicant. Good to see you, buddy. I don't know how long you've been here, just now noticing you. I think Gundam turns a lot of people off, but I always recommend Gundam. The 8th MS team and Gundam 0083 Stardust Memory. Yeah, I like the Gundam stuff. Huge fan, just the designs in general. You're going to see that in the Mechakira and Hammerella. And you guys have already seen one of the designs, but there's a second Mechakira that nobody's going to see until they get the book. I decided that. I was going to show all the cool stuff, and I was like, no, gonna have to wait. Wow, it's 7 a.m. Across the pond where Alex is. All right, so our plan for next week on Late Night Inks is we're going to have Jeff Elkins of City of Rot. Many of you know him. Many of you don't. City of Rot is his first comic. It has been funded. It's in demand over on Indiegogo. And he has always got a lot of good questions for me about when I was an inker in the industry and sort of how things worked and what it was like from penciler to inker. And he and I have a future project that we're working on together. And he wanted to kind of slowly figure out how we should do it. You know, what level should he take his pencils for me to ink this thing? And that we're still even experimenting with that. He may end up inking himself on this project, who knows? But it got me to thinking about teaching you guys, young up-and-coming artists, maybe some of you old dudes out there that want to learn this stuff, and some of you that aren't artists, which I'm always trying to teach you guys that aren't artists to get in there and get creative and have fun. You're sitting there drawing TV, ink and draw. You don't have to do it for a living. It's just a fun craft. But what I want to do is teach you guys how to collaborate, how a pencil and an inker can collaborate. Because I see a lot of people inking pencils that the pencils they're tight enough to print, or it's just not the right setup for an inker, things like that. There's certain things that need to be done if you're doing, let me clarify, basic superhero comics. Yeah, different styles, different strokes, different folks. But we're talking classic superhero style comics, and I'm going to be teaching you the things that I learned when I was inking, you know, the Silvestris, the Finches, those guys, about structure, how to erase, how to layer, how to build up, how to leave certain structure lines so that your inker sees the crossbars but knows not to ink those lines. All sorts of things like that. And we're going to start, sorry, hit the mic again. We're going to start with a headshot next week, and then we're going to slowly expand onto the human body, and then we'll build the scene, and then we'll show you guys how to set up perspective in a shot. If you're the penciler, how to set up for, you know, make sure things like your vanishing point is visible for your inker. Make sure that all your perspective lines are going to the right place. But if your vanishing point's there, it doesn't matter because the inker can do corrections if you're paying him enough. But that's something I see going forward with indie books. Is I think there is going to be more copying of what the big two were doing as far as people teaming up on books. And, you know, I don't necessarily see inking as a career choice in the big two, as a long time career choice from this point on, which is why I'm not doing it anymore. But I do see people collaborating, and there's so much knowledge that needs to be passed on. And this giant noggin of mine has tons of this knowledge in there. So I think that's going to be a really fun way to sort of teach you guys a little bit about penciling, but to teach you guys how to collaborate as penciler and inker. And it's going to help you if you're just a penciler that inks yourself too. It'll help you with that as well. So we're going to have a lot of fun doing that. So next week, 9 p.m. right here. Rex Doom, back to Godzilla. He says, there was one thing in a human scene that really annoyed me near the end, but overall it was amazing. Yeah, you know what? We'll chit chat about that. We'll catch up. Yes, SDA clarifying that Captain Herlock is part of the let me get that right, Leiji Matsumoto universe. And Shin Steve Irwin. He'd probably still be around if there was Shin Steve Irwin. And no, Elizabeth, you're not the only person in the world that liked Monkey Bone. My wife and I love that movie. One of Brendan Fraser's best, and definitely Chris Kattan's best role. Nobody can play a dude with a broken neck like Chris Kattan. That was fantastic. All right. My mustache tickling me. Yes, Eliza Barr, there is a secret bonus Mechakira. There is a Mechakira design that you guys have not seen, and it's going to be brand new to when the book shows up. Really, InkSpots, you showing up when I'm saying goodbye? As everyone knows, I have a straight art crush. There's nothing gay about it, guys. It's a straight art crush on InkSpots. He comes in the room, and my art heart goes aflutter. Colors on Cash Grab, Charlie's London, and I think like 14 other books. So you will not be able to hire him for another 4 years. All right, Simon says all canon, but Elseworlds for Gundam, even the new Gundam build series. Rex Doom says he's going to try to do it all himself for Super Gross, the comic book he is doing, putting together a page for it, just trying things out. He'll send it to me when it's done, or maybe he's talking to someone else. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Rex Doom's style, but he knows that. Lizabar says, Ryan, we have a quicker way to get this knowledge. I've learned this technique from Rob Geronimo. If we kill you and eat your heart, we gain all your powers. I don't know if that's quicker, because you got to catch me first, bro. You got to catch me, and I'm fast. I'm quick. I'm quicker than death. I'm quicker than you. Everyone's saying hi to Inkspots, the wonderfully beautiful, just beautiful. He's just beautiful Inkspots. Says, yeah, I figure you saved the good stuff for the end. No, I did not. All the good stuff was right at the beginning and kind of in the middle. It got really girthy in the middle, and now we're back down to the base. All right, so I am out of here, you guys. We are going on almost an hour and a half. I think we have played all the videos. I think, actually one more time. This is my little ad. We're going to go to commercial.
Sun Wukong, the Monkey King. He likes to fight and he likes to sing.
And our commercial is brought to you by Pedro Ang, animator. He's in the chat, artist, good friend. Check it out. All right, everybody, thank you so much for hanging out. I really did have a good time. This stuff is good for my soul. I am not stressed anymore. My headache is gone. I'm ready to go flat some pages of Hammerella and possibly watch some more Godzilla and King Kong. Who knows? But until next time, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Take it easy. Give us any chance, we'll take